heart to a new beginning. A new beginning starts today. Spirit within me moves me, and I'm open. It's a new beginning. Won't you try that with me? I open my heart to a new beginning. A new beginning starts today. Spirit within me moves me, and I'm open. It's a new beginning. Every beat of my heart, every beat of my heart is a new beginning. Every breath I take is a new beginning. Every thought I think is a new beginning. Every song I sing, I open my heart to a new beginning. A new beginning starts today. Spirit within me moves me, and I'm open. It's a new beginning. Oh, every beat of my heart is a new beginning. Every breath I breathe is a new beginning. Every thought I think is a new beginning. Every song I sing, I open my heart to a new beginning. A new beginning starts today. Spirit within me moves me, and I'm open. It's a new beginning. It's a new beginning. It's a new beginning. Thank you. This next one has a part for you. We've done it before. We come together, we come together. A lot of you will know it. That get everyone singing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. Here we go. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Oh. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. From every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite. In honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
Good morning, and and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Santa Rosa. Let's give another thank you to our band for that inspiring music. Yeah, yay. I'm Jan Peterson, and I'm a trustee and a licensed prayer practitioner here at the center, and I'm glad to be here with you today. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. And please know that your children are welcome here too. They're welcome to sit with you in the sanctuary, or if you'd be more comfortable, there's a really cozy family room in the back. Also, we have a little child-sized table out there with some crayons and coloring pages and books, and it's for the whole family to enjoy. And thank you to our live stream viewers. We know you're out there. We see the numbers every Sunday. And we're so grateful that you're here with us today. And those of you who are live streaming either on Facebook or YouTube, if you love what's going on here, if you would consider just pressing that share button so we can share it with your friends, that's one way we get this message out to the world. So if you consider that. If you'd like more information about what's happening at our center, please visit our website at cslsr.org. And yes, I went on a couple days ago, and it's as full as ever. There you can find our Sunday bulletin. You just go down the front page a little bit, and you'll see the picture of the typewriter. If you click on that, the Sunday bulletin comes up, and it has everything that's going on here at the center. A lot's going on besides the Sunday service. There's classes, workshops, meditations, prayer supports. So check it out. And if you're new, or maybe not so new, and wondering what we're about, we have a little pamphlet out in the social hall at the information table. It's called What We Believe. And this was written in 1927 by Dr. Ernest Holmes. He's our founder, and it's great today. You can also find a copy on our website, or email Linda Hand, and she'll send one to you. At the Center for Spiritual Living, Santa Rosa, we are motivated by a vision of a healthy, loving world. It is known as the Global Vision, and it calls on us to imagine a world that works for everyone. And here's a little portion of that vision. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors or debts, injustices, is the norm. And we support this vision through our shared values at our center. And there should be a slide here. We have a slide? There we go. If you could read these with me. Spiritual living, integrity, love, and compassion. Thank you. I know that somewhere between the music, meditation, prayer, and message is exactly what you need for the next step of your spiritual unfoldment. Now please enjoy some music before a short time of silent contemplation and prayer.
I listen to the part of me that knows my path is laid before me, showing me which way to go. I needn't wonder if I'll be guided home. Every choice along the road, God will always show when I listen to the part of me that knows. Won't you join me? I listen to the part of me that knows. My path is laid before me, showing me which way to go. I needn't wonder if I'll be guided home. Every choice along the road, God will always show when I listen to the part of me that knows. I listen to the part of me that knows my path is laid before me, showing me which way to go. I needn't wonder if I'll be guided home. Every choice along the road, God will always show when I listen to the part of me that knows.
Right here in the stillness within, in that sweet silence, that presence of divine is already fully abiding. It is the source of all life. It is that infills and animates all of creation. This thing called by many names. It is ever present, holding, supporting, sustaining all that there is, moving throughout this universe right now in a perfect divine flow. I stop to recognize this oneness of life, knowing that it is truly the life of my life in, through, and as all that I am. The knowing, the being, the doing, everywhere, every moment. And so I know this absolutely as the truth of each and every one here, each and every one hearing my voice. It is that one divine presence that unfolds through this morning, through this service. Every part, every person. Expressing, opening, giving, receiving. It is one divine activity flowing and unfolding in a perfection beyond human understanding. And so I simply open to know that one source, that one ground of being right here, knowing that we are each held, supported, sustained right now. Oh, it is so good. This divine expression of life. And in this sweet, sweet awareness, I simply give thanks for this call home in conscious awareness. I let go into that divine presence. I let it be, and I let go. And so it is. Amen. Good morning. I'm Ruth Barnhart, a minister here at the center. Please join with me in reading this morning's affirmation. The doing of good work in the world is a wonder to behold, and so it is.
Do what you love what you do. Love all you can, I'm waiting for you. To do what you love, there's no other way. Don't be afraid, just take every day and do what you love. Life is such a big surprise, you never know what lies straight up ahead. So make your plans, but don't forget to do what you love and love what you do. Love all you can, I'm waiting for you. To do what you love, there's no other way. So don't be afraid, just take every day and do what you love. I've got so many bills to pay and debts to weigh me down for the rest of my life. Well, why not pay them doing the things I love? Oh, And if you don't know what you like to do, well then just picture you as a kid. Then you'll know. Don't wait for the lights to change or something strange to happen to us all. This is the time to take control. Do what you love and love what you do. Love all you can, I'm waiting for you. And do what you love, there's no other way. So don't be afraid, just take every day and do what you love and love what you do. Do what you love, it's all up to you. To do what you love, there's no other way. And don't be afraid, just take every day and do what you love. Do what you love. Oh, do what you love.
Oh boy, I can tell that Chris is doing what he loves, for sure, in the band. So let's give him another round of applause for all of that good work that they've been doing with us. Oh boy. Speaking of good work, we are now in a new month. We are actually in a new journal. We've got, well, I don't think that's the right one. Here we go. Here's the right one. We got a new journal this month for the rest of the year, too, to close out our year with all of our themes. And our theme is work, and that's only fitting that we're on Labor Day weekend, and we're kicking off this conversation about work and what does it mean to be in spiritual relationship with work. And today's talk title is called Good Work. So we're going to be talking about what good work is and how we can find that in our lives. And I thought I would start about talking about my experience with work. And you know, most of us, I think, when we think of work, we think of our job, right? You know, and it's certainly more than our job, but I'm going to be focusing on that because I think that's where most of the sticky stuff tends to come up. And I started my first real job as a photo technician at a Walgreens in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Yeah, And I did that because it was either that or fast food, and I did not want to work in fast food, that's for sure. I had some friends who worked there. Actually, I had a friend who worked at a Dairy Queen, and let me tell you, he told me what goes into those dilly bars. Don't do it, it's a trap. So I worked there, and I worked there through my college career. I was in college for 5 years, and I worked at that Walgreens for pretty much that entire time, part-time, so I could pay my rent and have some extra money, and, the reasons that college students have part-time jobs. And eventually I graduated. I graduated with an English major, a degree in letters and science, and I had no idea what I was going to do. So I looked at that Walgreens. I'm like, well, I guess I can become that open third shift manager. And I became a third shift manager. I talked myself into it, and it was not the worst idea. It paid a living wage. At the time, I was able to pay my rent and my bills and all that good stuff, the reasons that we commonly take jobs. And as time went on, though, I recognized that this was not going to be the job for me. Even though I really liked the idea of working 7 days on and then having 7 days off, which is how they did third shift management then, I had like 10-hour days that I worked. I really started to loathe that job. I really got tired of being the person who every night was reorganizing our stockroom and facing the store and making everything look really good, only to have it all torn down again the next day. I could not get into a good relationship with that job. And, it also helped that my boss was kind of a jerk too. So when my dad offered me a position at his mortgage brokerage in Illinois, it was kind of serendipitous. And so I went down and went to work for him, trying to be a mortgage broker, which also was a fabulously bad idea for me, let me tell you. I am a terrible, terrible salesman. And I didn't realize how much of that job was sales. And also, we'll get into this in our talk today, but I was going into that job for the wrong reasons. I thought I was going to become this fabulously wealthy, successful mortgage broker. I was doing it just for the money. And that was the wrong reason to do that. And some good things came out of it too. I was helping my dad out with IT, and that led me into my IT career, and we'll talk about that a little bit too. But at the end of the day, the way that I had been pursuing those jobs was not in alignment with my wholeness. And that's one of the core teachings of our Science of Mind teaching, the idea of wholeness, that we are already whole, perfect, and complete. And so I thought it would be fun for us to look at this concept of work through that lens of wholeness today. And when I started to do that for myself, I started to think, well, there's some questions that we have to ask ourselves. And this is a good question for you to write down in your journals, by the way. The first question, why do we work? It's a very simple question. It's also a question that I hadn't asked myself for a long time. I think it's a question that we in our society, we don't always ask. But when I ask that question, I also start to ask myself, well, then what is work? Maybe we need to define that. And I started, do a little internet research, as we're known to do when we're looking at those things, and found that work at its core is really just a relationship between cause and effect. That sounds a lot like what we teach in Science of Mind, isn't it? So digging a little bit deeper, I came across a South African anthropologist named James Sussman, who defines work as purposefully, and he emphasizes that word purposefully, expending energy or effort on a task to achieve a goal or an end. And so when I started to unpack that for myself, I brought it back to a spiritual way of looking at it. And I thought, well, really, that's just the means. The work is the means by which we sculpt abundance into specific forms. It could be physically, like somebody sculpted this beautiful podium here. Somebody put this flower arrangement together. Or perhaps it's a little bit less tangible. Perhaps I'm a therapist and I am helping to sculpt the consciousness of those who come to me for help. We're taking that abundance, we're taking our world and we're sculpting it into something beautiful. And so when I look at work through that lens, I find myself asking another question, and that becomes, what is the goal that I wish to achieve from my work? What do I want to get out of it? And I think in our world, when you think of our jobs, for example, that there's a lot of reasons why we do what we do. Oftentimes, we're taught that the number one reason that we should be going into work is to make money, and we'll talk about that a little bit more because I don't think that should be the only reason. And that's because our Science of Mind teaching shows us that there's a bigger view of work that we can take when we look at it through that lens of wholeness. When I do that, I see that just getting paid is only part of the story. I don't want to discount that, but I realized this when I started to find my way into my IT career. As I was getting jobs with more and more responsibility and getting paid more and more, I was like, well, this is nice when I'm getting paid more, but I'm noticing that there's something inside of me that's looking for something bigger than just that. And so I found my way into Chicago Public Schools. And what's really cool about that, not only did that job come about through a spiritual mind treatment, through an affirmative prayer that I did when I was stuck in traffic on a 2-hour commute home, which is a great place to pray, by the way. I found a job where not only was I being paid well, but also I was doing good work. For the first time in my life, I recognized that, wow, the work that I am doing now, I am of service to my teachers and my students. I'm helping their lives be a little bit easier. I'm helping students to learn more easily. I'm helping teachers to support them a little bit more easily. And so that felt good, and I recognized that there was so much more to this act of work than simply just getting a paycheck. And that led me to another realization, that when I look through, or when I look at work through the lens of wholeness, I recognize that work oftentimes is an agreement that we make with ourselves, that we make with our lives, that we make with those around us. And that agreement is that we are agreeing when we go into any kind of work to be a cause in service to a specific effect that we desire in the world. Now, where do we get tripped up? Because I think it's important for us to really recognize where we can get tripped up with this, and perhaps where we have historically gotten tripped up with this. So personally and socially, I think we get tripped up with some of the agreements that we have made over the years. Perhaps with ourselves, perhaps because we've accepted society's agreements. And for the longest time, and I think it's still happening today, our society has been telling us that the primary reason we do work is to enrich ourselves. Whether we're working for ourselves, working for somebody else, employing people, creating a business, the mantra that greed is good has been kind of ingrained in our Western society, hasn't it? If we turn on the news today, I would bet you good money that you're going to hear about the economy. And we obsess about the economy. We've almost made our religion the economy, haven't we? What's the stock market doing? What's the economy doing? The economy is down. Oh, the sky is falling, yada, yada, yada. And when I hear that, I think, well, what is the economy actually in service of? Is it serving us? It's a good question to ponder, because ultimately the economy is just a reflection of the work that we do, isn't it? Now, I want to be clear, there is a partial truth in the idea that we would be compensated for the work that we do. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but money is just a representation of the energy that we expend and we exchange with each other. We, as human beings, we recognize pretty early on that it's a lot easier for us to have something that represents this rather than, if I want to buy a Super Nintendo, handing somebody a crate full of chickens, or like trading a goat for a cow. It's easier for us to do business with each other through the power of money. Money itself is not good or bad. It's just a way of exchanging that energy that we share with each other. Where we get tripped up is when money becomes the only reason that we do our work. That's certainly where I was getting tripped up. And the reason for that is because it's not in alignment with wholeness. There's more to work than just the getting, right? That creates an imbalance in our lives if that's the only reason that we're doing our work. And I think it invites us to create covenants, agreements that are based in separation, that aren't based in wholeness or oneness. And to give you a very tangible example, because one of the things that is a big conversation right now in the United States in particular is this whole idea of income inequality. And we're seeing this increasing amount of income inequality between those who are fabulously wealthy and basically the rest of us. And we've been seeing that effect, the effect of this covenant greed is good, the effect of this idea that when we do business, there have to be winners and losers. We've been seeing this since the 1980s. Did you know, I didn't know this, but I looked it up and I was a little surprised that pretty much since World War II, around 1945 until 1980, when we looked at the wages on average that an individual was making, that tracked pretty much in line with what our country's gross domestic product is. Now, the GDP, if you don't know what that is simply a reflection of what we're producing. It's like this giant number in the trillions of dollars that is an easy way to represent what it is that we're making as a country, as a whole. So from 1945 until 1980, the wages kind of tracked with that, which makes sense, right? If we're making more stuff, it would make sense that we're getting the benefits from that. Then the 1980s hit, and that mantra, greed is good, showed up. The whole idea that there have to be winners and losers in business showed up, and things started to shift a little bit. Today, when we look at the numbers, our gross domestic product, that which we're producing per person, is almost 4 times as much as it was when we started this in 1980. But the wages haven't tracked with it. And that's where it's a little like, I wonder what consciousness was going on there. Perhaps we got into the wrong reasons for going into work. Because that GDP skyrocketed, but when we adjust our wages per person according to inflation, well, we're actually making about the same as we were in the 1980s. Yes, the plot thickens. I think that's one of the reasons why we're seeing so much income inequality now in the world, because this whole idea that there have to be winners and losers, well, if we adopt that for ourselves, we either become a winner or we become a loser. And I want to talk about how we can all be winners, how we can all be served and thrived by the work, like thrive with the work that we do. I can tell you the times when I adopted greed is good as my own mantra, and there were some times I'm not super proud of them. I didn't do so hot. I actually found my way into a lot of debt. I found that I was doing work for all of the wrong reasons, and I absolutely was not happy. And I had to think about, what is it that I can do differently? And what is it that we can do differently to have a more spiritual relationship with the work that we do? In fact, how can we create a more sacred covenant with our work? And for me, that sacred covenant means that we would, yes, get the financial benefits of the work that we do so that we can survive and we can thrive, but we can also avoid the trappings of this old idea that there have to be winners and losers and that we have to only enrich ourselves at the expense of others. So how do we do that? Well, Dr. Edward actually gave us the answer last week. Last week, he reminded us that we live in a universe that reflects back to us what we hold in our consciousness, what we recognize about the truth of life and ourselves. We live in a reciprocal universe. So what that means is that when we enter into any kind of work, we have an opportunity to look for the good within us. And then through our work, we share that good with the world. I've got a fabulous story here. This story is so synchronistic because it just happened last week. I was sitting with my therapist, and I was kind of having a little bit of a down day and having a down week, and we're talking about that with my therapist. And this context will make sense, by the way, but my therapist and I, we do therapy in the woods. And he started doing that because of the pandemic. It was hard for him to see clients in his office. And so he's like, well, let's do it in the woods. And it actually turns out to be a really great setting for therapy, especially when you're a hiker like me. So I am sitting towards the end of my therapy session with my therapist, and he's having me meditate on getting in touch with my feelings in my body. And your body is a really good way to get in touch with your feelings, by the way. So I was pointing my awareness like a flashlight down right here, below my rib cage, right above my stomach, right around the center of my physical being. And as I'm focusing on that area of myself and just sort of listening, I start to get a feeling. I'm like, ooh, what's that feeling? Not quite sure what it is, but I'm going to sit with it for a bit. And the feeling grows and grows, and pretty soon I'm like, wow, I'm feeling joy. I wasn't expecting that. And so here's this joy that's just upwelling out of me for absolutely no reason. We're getting towards the end of this meditation, and my therapist, like a good therapist, is just kind of letting me chill with that wonderful feeling. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I hear this meow, 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 meow. And I, jostled out of my meditation. I open my eyes, and here's this little black tuxedo kitty right next to my chair, looking right up at me, meowing at me, kind of like pawing at me, like, would you please love me? And here I'm thinking, oh my God, my joy attracted to me this beautiful, amazing little kitty. I pet it a little bit, and it's purring, and it's happy. And so we end our session, and it gets even better. So I walk back up out the trail to go back to my car, and there's that little tuxedo kitty. And little tuxedo kitty comes running back to me. I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, but it runs back to me, and I start petting it some more, and I'm kneeling down to pet it, and all of a sudden, it jumps on my shoulders. I'm just sitting there like, okay, universe, thank you. Thank you for reminding me that the joy starts with me, because I don't think any of that would have happened, and I certainly would have been open to it if I hadn't found that joy within me first. And so when we bring that into the context of work, that tells me that if I'm an employee, I have to remember that I should never discount the sacred nature of that which I do. When I find my own inner good and I share that good, that tells me too that I have a right to make a living wage with the work that I do. I have a right to not overwork myself with the work that I do. It's kind of like that example of the airplane oxygen mask, right? If you're going on an airplane, they tell you put your mask on first, because you're not going to be of service to anybody else if you pass out before you can help them. And that's sort of the personal side of the work that we do. We have to recognize that if we are destroying ourselves in the work that we do, we're actually not being of service. And the research shows us that too. There's so much cool research that's happening now that tells us that we shouldn't be efforting with our work as much as we are. And the reason for that is a lot of the science and studies right now are showing that once you go over about 50 hours of work in your job or whatever it is, the work that you're doing, our productivity goes like this, and then it goes pew. Almost to the point where it would have made more sense for us to not do that work because we've overworked ourselves and now we're making mistakes. I mean, think if you have to go to the ER, for example, and have surgery. I want to have the ER surgeon who just came off of a 2-week vacation in Bali and is just absolutely refreshed and is so tuned in with the work that they're going to do on me. I do not want the surgeon who has been working for 72 hours straight and is just falling apart because they're overworked, because they're going to make mistakes, right? And so then I look at the other side of the work here when we're looking at it in the context of jobs and business and things like that. If I'm an employer, my invitation when I look at work through the lens of wholeness, through my own wholeness and seeing how that wholeness plays out in my business, well, I first have to recognize I'm employing people because I know I can't do all the work myself. It's not possible, you know? There's no way that Elon Musk is going to make all of those Tesla cars all by himself. Just not possible. So we enter into a sacred covenant with those we employ. And that means that our collective work has an opportunity to be a means for all of us to thrive. Not just the owner of the business, not just the few shareholders or whatever who are getting all of the financial benefits, but everyone. That's actually something that we see at Oliver's, right? For everybody who's here in person, Oliver's is an employee-owned business. And I think a lot of us shop there because we see how much better they do it there than some other grocery stores. And I bet that's because they're employee-owned, because they all have a stake in thriving together. The sacred covenant that we make with our work becomes so easy when we're able to tune into that inner experience of joy and love and wholeness, that spirit that is living its life as and through us. But we have to do that first. That comes first. The consciousness comes first, and then the effect. And what's cool is that because we live in this reciprocal universe, our wholeness, when we do tap into it, especially when we're doing work through it, it draws to us more wholeness, more experiences of wholeness, more feelings of wholeness. Just as my joy drew me a little tuxedo cat. I think it invites us to look at the bigger picture around the work that we do in the world and see how is our work of service not just to ourselves, but to our larger society. And that deepens it. That makes it sacred. And the best part of this, what I've experienced, is that as workers, because we're all workers, whether we are in a job, whether we're retired, and maybe our work is just gardening, as workers, when we tap into that spirit within us, even the work that might give us heartburn is so much easier. Because we know sometimes there's work that we just have to do, you know? We need people to come and pick up our garbage. We need to do our dishes. We need to clean our toilets. All of those things are things that we have to happen, and I don't know many people who are super thrilled about doing them. But when Spirit is called in to do that work with us, then the burden of those things that we don't like doing gets shared. We begin to see that there is a sacredness to all of the work that we do. Because that spirit within us truly loves everything, even doing the dishes and cleaning toilets. And that helps us to make a new sacred covenant around our work in a way that removes any experience of suffering while also affirming our good. And so I'm going to conclude today by saying that unless somebody creates some cheap, smart robots, maybe it'll be Elon Musk, I don't know, I really doubt that us humans are going to stop doing work anytime soon. Work is a part of the human experience. It's part of our lives. But what our Science of Mind teaching gives us is a way to approach it that allows us to become more empowered in the work that we do, to allow Spirit to be the power that drives the work that we do. And that helps us to create new agreements around the work that we do. It lets us create win-win scenarios where we all benefit from the work and not just a few. By bringing in the power of Spirit and its wholeness, we are able to reframe the work that we do in a way that's so different from the way that it has been portrayed in our society as simply a means for us to get rich, and turn it into something that's sacred and beautiful. Something that is truly an expression of the divine living its life as and through us. And so I'm going to invite you, as I go into my prayer here, to tune into that same experience that I had with my tuxedo kitty. So if it feels comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. And maybe put your hand right below your rib cage and above your stomach so that you can really get tuned into that physical part. That's the center of your physical being. And I invite you to really get in touch with the consciousness that resides there. Simply feel the eternal nature of who and what you are. The joy, the love, the wholeness, and sit with it as we pray. Here and now, in this experience of wholeness, I recognize that one intelligence, that one mind, that one power, that one infinite, unconditional love that is the creative source of truly everything. I know that it is here now just as it is everywhere. And I know that it is good. And I know that the work that it does as and through us is good. And so I know I am one just as we are one. We are all expressions of that divine, perfect, unconditional love, here now in human form. Each and every one of us is an expression of that divine work in this world. Whatever it is we are doing, I know that we are absolutely blessed. We are blessed by this divine Holy Spirit working through us and as us to bring its good, to share its good with the world. And so I know that we are absolutely filled to the brim with that unconditional love, with that perfect joy, with that feeling of wholeness and goodness. And I stoke the flames of that goodness and allow it to expand and grow within us as each of us is tuning in to that divine one that is expressing and living its life as us in this world. And so I am grateful for this. I am grateful for the fulfillment of this prayer and for all of this good that is occurring here and now in this room and in this world. This good that is a reflection of our beautiful work. I am grateful, and I release this word into the action of the law that always reflects back to me what I give it. Together we say, and so it is. Well, thank you. All right, so this is the time of our service where typically we would be passing the baskets around here, and we're not doing that now. We haven't been since the pandemic, but I did want to say that I've been really touched and impressed with the way that Dr. Edward has been giving us a transparent and kind way of the big picture of our finances and our financial production this year. So it really means a lot to me to be part of this community, to be able to have this conversation in a way that's honest and that's blame-free. We're just where we're at because the pandemic has taken its toll. And if you haven't heard Dr. Edwards' message, the recap is that because of the influence of the pandemic, we've had some people who have moved away, some people who have lost their livelihood, and because of that, we have a budget deficit that we're looking to plug. So what we're doing is we're inviting everyone here at our center to be part of that solution. And there's a lot of different ways beyond just financial ways that you can help with that. And the first one, the primary way, is to include the center in your prayers. You can also show up in services in person and online, as this group has done beautifully. You can contribute financially in a way that feels good for you and your family. And you can tell your friends and your family about this amazing place and the things that we're doing here at the center. For example, did you know that our center has members that cook for the unsheltered on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week? That's something that our center does that gives back to the community. We've got this wonderful jail ministry that helps inmates out and helps to show them a different way that they can be in the world. We have so many other ways that we've helped, whether it was helping with the fires and the floods of the last few years. And we continue to bring forth new practitioners, new ministers from the teaching that we have here. So there's a lot that goes on, and you'll hear some of it from Jan in just a moment. But I just wanted to give you that small list to show that this is what your contributions are helping to do here at our center. And so I'll say, if you would like to give financially, there's a number of ways that you can do this. You can send us a check. You can drop your gift on the baskets if you're here in person on the way out. You can also give online on our website, cslsr.org/donate. And we have this cool auto-giving option that we've actually found quite a few people like, where you can set up your deposit to be done automatically. And if you're interested in that, if you're here in person, you can talk to Mitzi Hughes at the information table after service, or you can send her an email if you're online. And then finally, we have text to give, where Dr. Edward has been kind of frustrated with not having an acronym for this phone number, so I'll just say it. You can text the dollar amount you'd like to give to 707-675-2399, and it'll help you set that up, and it's very quick. That's actually how I give, because I can just type in my number now, and poof, it's done. It's like magic. So I want to say, however it is that you choose to give, please know that everything that you share with us is absolutely appreciated. As Dr. Edward has been saying, we are the landlord of our center. We are the ones who are paying the bills, and we appreciate everything that goes towards helping have this roof over our head, especially helping have the air conditioning on this, what's going to turn out to be a really warm day. We are doing good work in the world. We're doing good work in this community, and I know we can continue to do that. And so now let us bless our gifts. I invite you to place your hand on your heart and repeat after me. I bless my gift. I send it forth to heal and prosper. It does amazing things in the world. And so it is. All right, thank you very much, and I'm going to invite Jan up right now to tell us about what's happening at our center.
Well, today we have Sharing Our Bounty. It's back right after service between 10 and 11. And this is a fun gathering if you've been. It's like a party out there. And the center will be providing tea and coffee, and I heard water since it's going to be so hot. People have brought or are right now bringing baked goods, flowers, fruits and veggies from our gardens and orchards to share. People have asked if you need to bring something to share, and no, you don't have to bring anything to take home from some of this delicious bounty. Everything is free for your enjoyment, and we even have some bags for you to take home some of the goodies. Full Circle is meeting today, and Peggy Weber asked me to let you know. Originally, it was going to be at Finley Park, but because of the heat, they're going to go on Zoom. That's from 1 to 2:30 today. And I have some extra things to announce. Okay. If you embrace the vision of our spiritual community and are willing to support it with your prayers, words, and action, our new member class will help you get the information you need to decide if membership is right for you. Join Dr. Edward and Reverend Russ on Zoom from 12:30 to 2 on Sunday, September 18th. Simply click on the photo of the dandelion seeds to sign up. And I like that imagery. Okay, and then we have a couple more workshops coming up. Have you heard about this thing called intuition, but aren't sure what it means? Or perhaps you feel like you don't have a good understanding of your own intuitive nature and how it can inform life. If so, join practitioner Maggie Cole in a powerful 2-part workshop. It's called Mystical Intuitive Nature, a Treasured Companion. And during this workshop, you will be invited to open to the many ways of life or divinity, how it can flow through you, revealing a deeper experience of Spirit's creativity and inspiration in your day-to-day life. It'll be taught the next 2 Sundays, so that's September 18th, next Sunday, the 11th and the 18th, from 2 to 4 on Zoom. And you can sign up on the website by clicking on the photo of the clouds. Dr. Edward is offering an in-person workshop called Affirmative Prayer on Sunday, September 25th at 1 p.m. In it, he will unpack each of the 5 steps of spiritual mind treatment Science of Mind's approach to affirmative prayer. And this is one of the bedrocks of our teaching. He will go beyond a basic introduction and examine each step's purpose and function. And he will bring the steps to unlock the heart's connection with the mind, bringing new life to our prayer practice. This workshop is offered on a love offering basis, and you can sign up for it on the website by clicking on the photo of the white lotus. And finally, you get your groceries at Oliver's. I know, I mostly do. And they have it's an Oliver's community card, and it's great. Every time, if you get one of those, you hand it to the cashier, 3% of your purchase comes to us. So they have donated over $3,000 to the center based on our shopping, which is amazing, yeah. So simply ask your cashier at Oliver's to sign up and designate the Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa as your beneficiary. So thank you for being with us here today, and have a wonderful week, and we'll see you out at the Bounty. Thank you.
Cool. All right, thank you, Jan. And it's time to close our time together out. But before we do, I know we have a lot of announcements, but I also wanted to make sure you're aware that our foundations class starts next week, September 13th at 6 p.m. And I'm telling you about it because I'm the one who's teaching it. And I love this class because it is sort of if you don't take any other class with us and you want to learn about the science of mind teaching, this is the one to take because it covers all of the core concepts of our teaching. It gives a deep dive into our spiritual practices, and it's a really fun way to be in community and to sort of explore what this whole idea of spirituality is together. So if you're interested in that, please check out the classes on our website. The registration is available there, and you still have some time, though not a lot of time is left. So please be sure to sign up if you are interested. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful time. All right, so if you had a challenging time, if you cried yourself to sleep last night, or if you're just looking to spend some time with a practitioner who is going to affirm that wholeness within you, we have after-service prayer available to you in a couple of different ways now. You can take advantage of it over Zoom, especially live streamers. You can take advantage of it over Zoom, and a prayer practitioner will pray with you privately and confidentially about whatever it is that you're looking to experience in your life. Also, we have just brought back the experience of in-person prayer at our center. Yes, I know, I'm so thrilled about that because there's a power in getting prayer in person from one of our practitioners. So if you are here in person and you'd like to take advantage of that, what you're going to do is just file out into the social hall, hang a left, spend a little time at sharing our bounty, and then right over there in the corner, there's glass doors that take you into Wagoner Hall there that you'll be guided and directed to a practitioner who will pray with you. So we're so grateful to be able to offer that to you because it's such a powerful thing, and we've just had such a wonderful feedback too from everybody who's been enjoying it, both our practitioners and our congregants. So, all right, let's close this thing out. Please stand if you are willing and able, and repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind, life is in my body, and life is in my affairs. I think it, I feel it, and I accept it. Just the way that it is, and just the way that it is not. Thank you, life. Please know with me that you are never alone, that Spirit is right where you are, that you have only to look within at any moment to know that you're guided, sustained, and empowered by a presence that expresses itself as you in this world. In deepest gratitude, let us live our lives accordingly so that in everything we do, say, and think, we honor that beautiful presence within. And so it is. Enjoy the closing music. You're all wonderful. We'll see you if you're here out at Sharing Our Bounty. Have a great week.
2, 3, 4. I am a prayer for peace. Wherever I go, peace goes with me. I feel peace inside. In every breath, peace abides. I know the joy of peace. I choose fear to release. Every moment love wakes up, and peace is every step. I am a prayer for peace. Wherever I go, peace goes with me. And I feel peace inside. In every breath, peace abides. And I know the joy of peace. I choose fear to release. Every moment